Right, so good afternoon and welcome to the Autodesk AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017 What's New webinar. My name's Steve Ellis and I'm the Australian New Zealand Civil Infrastructure Tech Specialist for Autodesk. Before we get started with the webinar, we just have some ground rules. Any questions you have throughout the webinar, please type them into the questions dialog box that you have on your GoToWebinar. We'll have some time at the end to answer any questions that we may have, and as I said before, any issues you might have with the video or audio, please let me know in the chat and I'll see if I can fix anything. Alright, so AutoCAD Civil 3D software is a mature civil engineering design and documentation solution that supports building information modelling workflows using AutoCAD Civil 3D Infrastructure Professional. Professionals can achieve better project performance, maintain more consistent data and processes, and respond faster to change. AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017 offers improvements in usability and greater efficiencies with overall project workflows, detailed design, and interoperability improvements. As we go through the presentation, you will see that the 2017 enhancements fall into 4 primary categories. These include project management, usability, corridor modelling, collaboration and data exchange. So our first category to review is project management. The first set of demonstrations is packed full of new and improved workflows to help streamline project data management for any project. Reference styles utility is a new powerful feature that allows any styles in an existing drawing to be synchronized with the styles in external reference templates. For CAD managers, reference templates simplify the process of centralizing standard drawing styles and ensures that users can easily keep them up to date in any production drawing. The new ability to cache a surface means you can save the geometry of a reference surface in a design drawing that contains a data shortcut reference. This increases the performance of the design drawing and streamlines collaboration with external consultants who use Civil 3D and want access to reference surfaces without the hassle of fixing broken references. Number 3, creating a corridor data shortcut and referencing it in a working drawing is now available in AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017. For those looking to do cross-sections, material and volumes reporting, corridor surface visualization in separate drawings, this is the project management workflow you've been looking for. Other improvements to project management have been added to the Civil 3D 2017 and include the ability to create data shortcut folders to help manage object shortcuts in a project. To complement the new folder system for creating references, AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017 has the new option to multi-select individual data shortcuts or complete folders with multiple data shortcuts and drag and drop them into a drawing to create multiple references at once. So let's move on and jump into some of the demonstrations for this first project management part. So reference external styles. This new feature in AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017 allows the user to reference a Civil 3D style in a drawing or template. This means you can have a production drawing with current styles and at any time reference that external template or drawing to access the new styles. So in this demo we have created a template called my3dstyles.dwt. It has some council or main road standards, some custom styles, project specific styles. So none of this is new, it's as it's always been. So now let's open our production drawings. So now using the manage option in the ribbon, you will see a new style option called reference. So using the reference, we can attach one or more DWT or DWGs to our existing drawing. So if you had 100 plan and profiles, and if you wanted to change the style of a profile or surface, this new feature is so valuable. So once the style is attached, you'll see in the prospector menu all the new styles available, and you can now update your production drawings. I'm just going to take a few moments here to update a few of the styles in this drawing and demonstrate how all of that functionality works. So as you can see, once the reference style is attached, you have access to all the new content that's included in that reference. So let's update the style of our profile here to City Standard. Once this is changed, we know that this style is externally referenced and correct as per that standard. And of course the connection is dynamic, and if you change that style in the template, this style changes in our drawing set. So if you're a CAD manager who is managing a group of designers and drafters, you can externally reference the production drawings to a specific template. So if you want to refine those styles, you can refine them and they will be dynamically updated back in the drawing set. This is a powerful new feature. So if we wanted to update our drawing using the new standard, we can open up any of the production drawings that are referenced to that template, select the reference option again, and you'll be notified that it needs to be reloaded. So there it is, it needs to be updated, so we update that. So in this case, the profile's been updated again. All right, so this new feature is called Surface Check Cache. Allows the user to make a decision whether they want to send the surfaces out embedded in the Civil 3D drawing or keep them as external references. So in this example, we will look at ways to send a drawing out to an external party. So the external party may or may not need the existing ground, and they most likely want the site plan. So in our drawing, we have both surfaces externally referenced. If we do a quick check on the new settings under the surface options in Prospector, we can go ahead and edit this new setting. It's called Create Surface Reference. The setting we are looking for is called Store Reference Surfaces in a Drawing. If you set to No and we send this drawing out, the external party will see that the drawing is smaller than it should be. And so that first tells us that there are no embedded surfaces in this drawing. You can see that the surfaces don't appear. If we look under Prospector, they are showing an alert that says that the link is there, but it's broken. This is what you might normally see in older versions of Civil 3D when you're sending data out. So in order to fix this problem, we want to ensure that every drawing has the Create Surfaces reference turned to Yes. This means that even if we externally reference our surfaces from design or survey, once we create that surface reference, it will automatically know to cache the surface. So every surface we are using in our drawing, they will be dynamically linked to our design or survey or other data that you might be linking. So when we save our drawing and inspect the file size, you'll expect it to be about twice the size. It's got all the surfaces in it now. So again, that tells us that something has been chased inside the drawing. So if you send this drawing out to an external party, they will now see the surfaces appear and they will be live and can be used for layout or production purposes or construction purposes. You'll still see that the surfaces are attached, but now the surfaces actually exist in the drawing. So that's a big benefit when working with external parties. So in order to pick and choose what surfaces get cached in the current drawing, you can select the surfaces option in Prospector, and then all of the surfaces are listed with a new property called Data Reference Status. This is where you can where the design surface will be cached, but the survey surface is not cached. And again, you will see a change in the file size indicating that change. There you go, there's a change in the file size again. So now we'll see the site plan, but the survey is not available to us. Okay, so that's our surface caching that's now available in AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017. They're just looking now to see that that surface is actually there in Civil. Okay, one of the great new ways to manage your data shortcuts in Civil 3D 2017 is the ability to create folders in your data shortcuts section in Prospector. So for large projects, you can see that you have lots of alignments, surfaces, pipe networks, all sorts of different information there. And these can be for existing or proposed features, of course. So in a large project, this amount of information can become confusing and get very unorganized. So now you have the ability to create folders in the data shortcuts section of Prospector. You can create a new folder and select multiple features from Prospector and drag them into the new folder. So we're organizing our surfaces into design folders and do the existing surfaces now. And you can create multiple folders to arrange that data as needed. And you can also create subfolders. So this is probably most powerful in the alignment section, where you'll have alignments for all sorts of different purposes, whether it be different phases or stages in the project. You might want to have mainline alignments or side road alignments in one, curbs in another, and you can create, like I said, you can create subfolders for all of these. And obviously dragging and dropping all of that information, so there's a subfolder being created for different alignments. Again, it's that ease of dragging and dropping and multi-selecting as you need to. So I'm just going to go through here and speed the video up a bit and do a bit of cleanup for this process. So as you can see, it's going to be much more organised, and you'll be able to navigate through and find the information that you need, rather than scrolling down through a whole list of unorganised information. So have you seen how easy it is to organise your data shortcuts for a project? In this demonstration, we'll create a new drawing, and what we'll do is create multiple data shortcuts to this drawing using our newly created data shortcut folder structure. So once we have our saved drawing, we're ready to reference any of the objects from other drawings using the data shortcuts option. So you can see we have our organised surfaces. If we multi-select these surfaces, then right-click, we now have the ability to reference each surface we selected. So that's surfaces, and it's pretty easy. Now alignments are another thing. You'll usually have to make reference to multiple alignments and their profiles. So using this new feature, we can simply pick the roads we need, right-click and create a reference to the roads and associated profiles. I think you'll see some great efficiency gains with this feature. So as you can see, as we go through Prospector, everything we need has been successfully data shortcutted, including the surfaces, alignments and profiles. So you can see everything's in. So we can now go and shortcut all of the curb return data to assist in creating all of our corridors. So this will help you if you want to build your design alignments in one drawing and then your corridors in another. So it's allowing you to layer up all of your information through multiple drawings to create the final outcomes. And obviously just in a much more organised fashion now. So let's move on to corridor shortcuts. So the next new feature we'll look at is the ability to create a data shortcut to the design corridor. As you can see, we have a corridor in this drawing. When you select the data shortcut option, you can see the usual surfaces and alignments, and you'll also see the option to shortcut the corridor. So now you'll see the corridor appear in the shortcut tree. View in Prospector. Not sure what happened there, the video just jumped ahead on me. Sorry about that, the video just jumped ahead. We'll just play that through again. So I wasn't looking close enough. I think that played up until about 30 seconds in or something like that. So we'll just kick on from there. So like I said, you'll see the corridor appear in the shortcut tree in Prospector. So we'll look at how we can use that shortcut in a production environment. So we're going to create a cross-section drawing that will need the corridors to generate the cross-sections. So by just selecting the data shortcut, we can now create a reference to the live dynamic corridor in our design drawing. When you create a reference to the design corridor, you will see that all the alignments and profiles used as baselines in that corridor are also referenced in this reference drawing. So now we're ready to create our sample lines as we normally would to create cross-sections. Of course, since the baseline alignments are also referenced, we can go ahead and use them to create our sample lines. As I said, this is just the usual way we would go about creating sample lines in Civil 3D. So we're just going to do this for one of the roads in this demo. So we're just going through now and just selecting the range. There's all the information to give us our offset widths and all that sort of stuff. And there you can see the sample lines are created. So our next step is to create the multiple section views for the sample lines that we just created. So if we review the sample line collection, we can see that the roads have been added to that, and we will go ahead and create the multiple section views using the normal wizard that you would be using. So under the sections display option, you can see that the overall roads are the only data source available to us for this section line group. If we wanted the existing and proposed in this drawing, we'll just have to data shortcut it separately and create another sample. So for this example, we're just going to look at creating with the corridor section view. So there they are. So a second category that we're going to look at is usability. The usability category has two unique demonstrations that improve the workflow, flexibility and content of AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017. The no site option for feature lines is something that was added to the product to allow users to create 3D feature lines outside of a site that do not interact with each other. So you do not need to specify the style priority for them like you do with feature lines that exist in the same site. They also do not interact with other objects as they cross, such as alignments, parcels or survey figures. AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017 offers new pressure pipe content for PVC, HDPE and steel pipes. Additional fittings and valves have been included, also for flange fittings and mechanical fittings. One of the new features is the ability to create siteless feature lines. For this demo, we will create a siteless feature line using our building pad polygon. We use the create feature lines from the objects option, selecting the building pad and then assign the site as none. So let's name the feature line and we'll set the style, and then since we have an elevation on the feature line, we don't need to assign any elevations at this stage. So let's go and check the elevations of our siteless feature line. By selecting the feature line and then the context menus will show up, pick the elevation editor, and we can see that the elevation has been assigned to that building pad. If we add another feature line, again without the site, we can assign the style to this feature line, and I think we're going to assign an embankment of some sort for this feature line. So this is a situation where we can pick the building feature line and it won't affect the elevations of the building pad. It's an independent feature line without having a dynamic connection. Again, we can check the elevations of the new siteless feature line, and we can see that it varies based on a slope from point A to point B. So now you can see the design. If we check back to the building feature line, you can see that the elevations have not changed. So even though they are both siteless, they don't interact with each other. So in this demonstration, we'll look at setting up a new parts list for a project. First, set the pressure pipe network catalogue. you will see a whole set of new Catalogue SQL light files. So in this case we're going to select the PVC Catalogue from the list. So new. So under the settings menu in Prospector, if you select the Pressure Pipe Network part list option, we'll create a new part list and name it PVC parts. And as before, we can add different material types. So in this case, we only have PVC available to us. And we can add all of our sizes, and you can see all of the sizes populate out there in the menu. And they're just coming directly from the catalogue. We can set our default style and assign a material type as well. So now by selecting the Fittings tab, we can add all the different types of fittings from the catalogue. So we're adding in elbow and T fitting types from the catalogue. And again, all of the sizes applicable to these fittings will come across. We'll now do the same thing for the Appurtenances tab. We select any of the valves and hydrants and other details that might be in there. And again, to finish off, we're just selecting all the different items that we want there. To finish off the parts list, we just add all the sizes again for these parts. And so now we have a complete parts list for our PVC pipe networks. So there are all of the parts. Okay, so the next step in this demo is to create a pressure pipe network using the standard Civil 3D features. So we're going to select the pressure pipe networks option in Prospector menu, and we can create a new pressure pipe network called Water Main. We're going to just add some default settings for this network there first, and then we can just do our layout in Plan View. We can see that the pipe sizes, as we're designing around all of the bends, and any fittings are automatically applied to the pressure pipe network. So once we have the pressure pipes and all of the bends associated with the network laid out, we can start adding various fittings and appurtenances to the pressure pipe. So here we're going to add a T fitting and a hydrant, so the T fitting first. And you can see the fitting is added, and then you can just use the grips can be used to edit the detail. So I think we're just rotating it there. And then we're going to put in the hydrant, and again rotate with the grips. And then we're just going to use the pipe only option, and we can connect the hydrant to the network. Again, just zooming in, we can use grips to move any of those fittings and fixtures and pipes around. So next we're just going to add some gate valves to the network. As you can see, they cut the pipe dynamically and set themselves at the correct elevation. And as before, grip editing is available to change the details that you might need to move those components around. And the cuts move with them, and everything's changed dynamically. So now as a check, we can just view the network in Object Viewer, and we can see it in 3D and see all the solids. So if we just change the view there to the same one that we had in the Object Viewer, we can resize or relocate the features as needed in the 3D orientation as well. Again, by just grabbing all of the grips. And we can also go ahead and just change the style, the view style, so that we can see them as a solid pipe without the Object Viewer. So any of these objects can be moved into Navisworks for full clash detection and analysis as well. So the third category for review is corridor modelling. So AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017 offers a number of very powerful corridor modelling and data collaboration features that will improve daily design tasks for any user working with corridors. For site plan and stormwater management, designers looking to use the power of, this keeps jumping around, the power of corridors for site modelling. This new ability to use Featurelines as a corridor baseline is the feature functionality you've been looking for in Civil 3D. The corridor corner cleanup is another added feature for anyone doing corridor modelling in tight corners, resulting in bow tie effect or situations where sub-assemblies cross over each other. AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017 automatically cleans these corners and solves the issue. Now you can extract multiple feature lines from within corridor regions or closed polygon areas using this one-step utility now available in AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017. Enhancements to corridor solid extraction utility now enables the automatic association of property set data and the ability to have corridor solids remain dynamic to changes in the corridor. The result is that corridor solids can now include information such as material classification codes, volumes and more. This can then be used throughout the design workflow, including design review and construction management. So now let's look at using typical feature lines to build a complete corridor for our design. If we zoom into our design, we can convert the existing polylines into feature lines that we're going to start using for our corridors. So we select the objects and quickly convert them to 3D feature line objects. So let's add the channels, water areas and buildings and apply some styles to those new feature lines. We're now just going to add some basic grading to the designs. Here we're just using some quick tools to apply these grades. So again, just using some of those quick tools in there to apply grades along those lines, picking existing features to tie into. Okay, so now using the typical corridor creating systems that Civil 3D offers, we have added some assemblies into the drawing. And we can go ahead and create the corridor, but instead of picking an alignment, we will select the feature lines instead. So this is where Civil 3D will prompt us to name the feature lines if it's not already named, and then we can apply one of the assemblies to that feature line. So once we have selected the assembly, we can pick the target surface for battering, and now we will have our first baseline for our design. Just apply, and there it is. So let's continue the design by selecting the corridor properties and add a second baseline using the road 2 feature line. So we can then apply a region with the assembly that we would like to see in this part of the design. And set the assembly. And the targets. And then just apply it, and then that will create the second corridor. So there's our second road designed using nothing but feature lines. For our third baseline, let's go and apply a curb to crown type assembly. So we can run the assembly along the curb line and target the center line of the road. Again, all create alignments with profiles for all of these baselines. So this will be valuable for anyone designing in urban areas or with lots of intersections. So yeah, just making a few little design changes to those feature lines. Just checking the elevations here. Okay, so let's snap to the start and end points, the existing corridor baseline, and then using the high-low feature tool we can set the high point very quickly. So now we have the curb line set for the cul-de-sac. We can add our next baseline using the feature line and define the feature line name, and of course of the 3D grading is used when you define it as a feature line. So we now add the region, in this case the curb return fillets. We can have the assembly run around the curb line and target the center line. Now set the corridor frequency so that you get a nice resolution, so it's not too staggered. So we can now set the road 1 feature line as our width and vertical design target. So this is just a typical corridor modelling using nothing but feature lines and assemblies, and that's all we're using. So this is all just typical corridor modelling using nothing but feature lines and assemblies. So once we apply, you can see that within a few minutes we are taking our feature lines into a full-blown model. Again, maybe we can flip it around, look at it in 3D, and see that it's a full design. So the next new feature is the ability to extract multiple feature lines from a selected corridor. So when you select the corridor, you get a context-sensitive ribbon menu, and you can select the feature lines from corridor option. In this case, we selected all of the corridor feature lines in the corridor. In a list, we can then pick only the corridor feature lines that we are interested in. So if you were sending this out to a contractor, you can define just what is required. So when you are processing the feature lines, it will run through the entire corridor and extract only those feature lines that we have selected. So it's just going through now and processing that. It's going to take a few seconds, I guess. So once you have extracted the corridor feature lines, we can check the feature line properties to see how it is connected to the corridor. You can see that there is a dynamic link to the overall roads corridor and that it has a code assigned to it. You could remove the dynamic link from the corridor if you wanted to. So upon further review of the corridor feature line, you can see that the elevation and editing tools are available for the feature line, but unavailable when dynamically linked to the corridor. So this makes it possible to update your corridor, have the feature line update, and then any feature lines within the same site touching this corridor would also update. So let's look at the next new feature that cleans up the corners of the corridor. We'll start by editing the assembly used at that particular corner. In this case, it's a curb assembly that is running along the edge of the parking lot. Here we're just going to go in and add a footpath assembly, and once we update that, we can take a look at the outcomes in the corridor at that corner where we updated the assembly. So in previous versions of Civil 3D, you would get bow tie effects or overlaps of the assembly shapes and links. Now we're seeing a nicer corridor cleanup on our corners, both on the insides and outsides of the corners as well. So let's zoom in and have a look at that update. There you go, you can see that that's updated nicely. No overlaps or bow ties. Right, so moving to the next new feature, it is the ability to assign property sets to any AutoCAD object. And in this example, we will look at the automatic assignment of property sets to the corridor solids. Once you have selected the corridor, you will see the context menu appear in the ribbon. Select Extract Corridor Solids option and you will see all of the baseline and regions that make up that corridor. We can assign what we want exported using the first interface. We can also assign the layer name, which comes in handy excuse me, when pushing the design into Navisworks. The second tab now deals with the property set definitions. This is where we can automatically assign what we want to be attached to these solids. And the third tab in the wizard is the export area where you can define the export drawing that you want to export to. So within a few minutes we have all of our solids extracted and ready for Navisworks. So first let's just have a look at what was created inside Civil 3D. So we see that we have created the 3D solids for each of the regions based on the shape codes. So this is the data in Civil 3D, and now let's go and look at it in Navisworks. So that's it in Civil 3D. So we see that the that the solids come in nicely from Civil 3D. And if we open up the selection tree, you can see that the solids are all layered properly based on the material types and shape codes. So then under the regular properties, if you select one of these solids, you not only get the AutoCAD information, but also the corridor shape information, including the volumes, shape codes, and also some information about the corridor itself. So this is all automatic now using the property sets that are assigned to the corridor. Now if you wanted to display a tooltip on the object, you would go to the interface options in Navisworks and add 3 categories. And you'll see now that the corridor information comes up as available, as an available quick property that we can view when we hover over the solids. So there's the corridor information coming up now. So our fourth and last category is collaboration and data exchange. In keeping with the Autodesk Building Information Modelling philosophy, AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017 has continually improved the collaboration and data exchange feature functionalities to support design model interoperability. The new property set utility can be used to add custom properties to any drawing object, including Civil 3D objects. Property set data can be leveraged in other downstream applications in the design workflow, including Navisworks, BIM 360, Glue and more. AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017 and Autodesk InfraWorks 360 now share a common roundabouts model. Roundabout layout and analysis tools are tightly integrated into both products to enable seamless interoperability when moving a roundabout from one product to another. Civil 3D users can now import a roundabout that was initially modelled in InfraWorks 360 with no loss of design control or intelligence. Likewise, InfraWorks 360 users can open the Civil 3D roundabout with complete model integrity. So now that we have seen the automatic attachment of corridor property sets to the 3D solids that are created in the extract solids command, let's go ahead and look at attaching our own custom or user-defined property sets to the same corridor solids. So we open the 3D solids drawing that was created using the extract solids command. Then under the management tab in the ribbon, select the define property sets option. You will see straight away that there is a prefab property set definitions set by our corridor. So let's go ahead and add a new property set called corridor info. So this is the type of area where you can add any type of property to any type of AutoCAD or Civil 3D object. In this case, we want to make sure that we only apply these corridor property sets to a 3D solid. Under the Applies To tab, you can select any of the objects that you want to apply to. So now if we select the solid 3D, then we can go ahead and start adding these custom properties. Our first definition will be a simple text or string called phase. You have the opportunity to pick a different data type, being a real number or a yes and no. So now let's add a second one called unit cost. In this case we will use a real number. For our third property, we have the opportunity to add any of our object properties to this list of custom property sets. We are adding the layer name in this case to the custom definition. So next we are adding a formula, so we can use any of the other properties in the formula. This will so we're applying a unit cost here and associating that with a volume. We ultimately use for quantifying the cost. So once you apply, we can then attach these property sets to any of the 3D solids in our drawings. And if you create a new 3D solid, these property sets will automatically be applied and ready for editing. So once we select all of the 3D solids, we can then attach the corridor information property sets. So by selecting the properties tool palette in the lower left-hand corner, you will see the tab called Extended Data. You can see the previously attached corridor model information and corridor shape information that was generated from the extract solids command in Civil 3D. You do have the opportunity to edit this if you need to. So to add the property set in the lower left-hand corner of the palette, you will see the icon to add the property set. Then we can add the corridor information to all of the solids in one go. So now you will see the corridor info is now available to you for editing. As we enter in values, the properties of that particular object will change. So let's isolate some of these solids. We can group them together. So once you launch Navisworks, we can actually use this same Navisworks file that we used when we first inspected our corridors. Just by loading the Navisworks file, it's automatically reappended the drawing changes, including all of the corridor info property sets. So now when you hover over each of the solids in Navisworks, selecting the properties, you can see that new corridor information appears. So if we want to now add some of the corridor info to the Quick Properties tool, we can add a new category called Corridor Info and add the unit cost and total costs for the shape. So Navisworks is a great way to see all of the property sets data when you're doing visual inspections and analysis. So they're the tooltips showing you the different information that's associated with it. Right, in this part of the webinar we will look at the interoperability between Autodesk InfraWorks 360 road design modules and AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017 Roundabout objects. So assuming we already have a model set up in our InfraWorks 360, we can go and launch the road design tools. Let's just put in a local road, and then we'll make a few edits to that local road. So we're just going to pick a style here now. And just start sketching in our road road geometry. So now we're just going to edit a few of the radiuses there to make it a little bit more like a real road. Then we're just going to design in a second leg, and that will then give us an intersection that we can start editing. So once that's done, select the intersection item just by clicking, and we can change that to our roundabout style. And then we can change the style of that roundabout as well. So as you can see, within a few minutes, you can very quickly just generate a concept road design with an intersection, change that intersection around from just a standard T with traffic lights to have a roundabout intersection. So now that we have designed our roundabout, we now want to export that design as an IMX file into Civil 3D 2017. By selecting the settings option, we can select the export to IMX function, and we're just going to pick a simple boundary area to export here. So it's important again to apply the correct coordinate systems we need for our drawings, and then of course you just name it and export the file. Right, so now we're ready to import into AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017. So on the Insert tab on the ribbon menu, select the InfraWorks option, and then navigate to the IMX file that we exported. And once selected, again ensuring we are selecting the correct coordinate system. You can also get in and refine the selection set. In this case, we'll bring in all of the surfaces, alignments, intersection objects, and especially all of the roundabout objects. If you had done a drainage calculation, it would bring in the pipe network too. So we open the model, and we now have our concept design ready in Civil 3D to continue development. So upon review of the IMX import, you can see that all of the surfaces have been imported, including the proposed ground. You can see we have the road alignments, so just changing some styles here. As you can see all of the surfaces, you can see all of the road alignments that were used in both intersection and roundabout have been imported. All of these alignments have the associated profiles applied as well. So all of this information just comes straight across from InfraWorks 360. Also, any of the curb return alignments from the intersections have been imported, making any advanced corridor modelling easy beyond the roundabouts. So as well as all the alignments and profiles, the importer has also created the corridors for the roundabout. So if you review the design in 3D, it looks just as you would expect if you were modelling it manually or you were using any of the Autodesk vehicle tracking software tools. So when you select the roundabout object, the context ribbon menu will automatically show that it is a roundabout object, and you can adjust it and edit it just as if you'd created it using AutoCAD vehicle tracking software. So you can just now continue to develop and change the design as needed. So here we're just changing some standards and the different styles of the roundabout. Just in summary, we've seen some really great improvements in not only AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017 feature functionality, but in many new expanded utilities that extend the value of data beyond design and production drafting. AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017 is better connected to concept design using Autodesk InfraWorks 360 and construction management using AutoCAD Navisworks Manage. AutoCAD Civil 3D 2017 continuous improvement and expanded toolsets support the BIM philosophy at Autodesk. Civil 3D completely supports the efforts of many designers to go beyond paper into a truly dynamic model-based environment. So that's it from me in terms of the webinar now. So I just want to just do a quick plug for some of the upcoming webinars that we have. In particular, I've got a What's New in InfraWorks 360 on Wednesday the 29th of June. There's some Revit Advanced Steel and some A360 Revit stuff coming up as well. So again, this will be on the recording and you can jump back and see that. There's a couple of additional resources. This video, along with many others, will be and have been posted to the ANZ YouTube channel there. There's my contact details if you wanted to get in contact with me for any deeper questions. And now I'll just jump in and see if any questions have been posted into the questions area. There's a few. I know I've run over time. There was a lot to get through there. My apologies. So I'll see if we run out of time here, I'll get back to anyone about their questions via email. So I'm just opening up all the questions now. I'm going to start going through and answering if I can. I've got one here. So is it possible to enable the surface cache at the time you create the e-transmit? Off the top of my head, Paul, I am not sure. That is one I will get back to you about. I'll do a test and I'll let you know. So I mean it's a setting that you set. So it's telling it to cache the surface. So whenever you're saving that drawing out or sending it, it will make it at that time. So I guess it's live and constant. But I will get back to you with some definites on that. So another one from Paul. When you multi-select the reference shortcuts, will it default to the style in the template we have defined, or will it give you the option to override that setting in the template? Again, another one, I will have to test that and get back to you, Paul. I'm not 100% sure on that. So another one from Paul. Is the volume information displayed in the Navisworks related to the cross-sectional area or the overall surface? So it's not a cross-sectional, it's a volumetric analysis, so not the cross-section, it's the actual volume of the solid. So if I want to create a free-flowing surface for a landfill and corridors are not an option for the design, will there be the option to add the properties to the 3D extracted solid for that surface? So it's just a surface and not a corridor. You can apply data sets. So hang on, let me just read it again. So yeah, so you can add properties to any elements. It's not just corridors. It's to any AutoCAD element you can add those property sets and information to. Does Civil 3D now work with SSA from the ribbon workflow? I'm not 100% sure exactly what you're asking there, Chris. I might get back to you differently from separately to that. Neil Jones with a smart comment there. Thanks, Neil. Yes, that was they were driving on the wrong side of the road in that demonstration. Yes, but you can change that. There's just a one click in the properties menu of your InfraWorks model. Is there any way to have backwards compatibility with 2017 so that you can open drawings saved with it in older versions? I'm not 100% sure on which versions can be opened when. Again, that's something I will get back to you, Clinton. All right, Chris, I might, yeah, so this is again another SSA question from Chris. I might get it, talk to you offline about it, Chris, and see what's going on there. Yep, everything's available in metric, of course. Okay, so we've got a question. Yeah, so that's something I was just about to mention at the very end. So ANZ country kit will be due out in 2 weeks. We'll probably do another webinar on what's included in that, but obviously you'll probably get details of exactly what's included in that. We're just going through all the finalisation of all that now. So in 2 weeks' time, thereabouts, you should have the new ANZ country kit available for Civil 3D. So there is new information added into that. Exactly what it is, we'll let everyone know very shortly. So I'm mindful that I've gone over the hour by a little bit, and the questions are starting to slow down. Is there any other burning questions anyone has before I finish up the webinar? All right, guys and girls and everyone else on, thank you very much. I will talk to you again soon. Thank you.